Greetings, this is Charles McCall again, and this is lesson number 10 in our mini-series on strategic planning. And this lesson we're going to talk about communicate and clarify. I need to do an entire series. I have many lessons on communication, interpersonal communication, corporate communication, communication between staff. This is foundational. This is a foundation to your success. First of all, your ability to communicate. Communication is crazy. To be able to get the thoughts that is inside the head of one person, the same thoughts into the head of the other person. There are so many obstacles to keep that thought, that vision, that idea from being transferred to another person. And that communication is a huge problem in marriage, communication in any friendship relationships, business relationship, staff relationships. Wow, it's a huge problem. And so I do have materials. I can email you, lessons I can email you, and I will be creating lessons on communication, but it's huge. But we just have 4 points here that we're going to summarize, we're going to review. Again, these 4 points, each one of them could be an entire series. The 4 points are: 1, make the vision clear. 2, job descriptions. 3, job reviews. And 4, task lists. And these are 4 tools to help you be able to communicate your vision and your values and what you're thinking and what's in your heart to others. And these are 4 tools to help those that are working together, living together, going in the same direction, to stay in the same direction. And again, I want to say again that these subjects are huge. And I do have some samples. You can email me for some samples of vision statements. Email me for samples of job descriptions, job reviews, and task lists. But let's just look at this briefly in this short section here. Make the vision clear. Again, I would refer you to, there are at least 3 videos, 1 2-part video that I have in Leadership 101 called Vision, and another lesson on vision inside the series on 5 characteristics of every leader. Everything starts with vision. And if your vision is not clear for you, if you don't see very clearly what you want for this project, again, let's go back. Maybe we're talking about a weekend project for a small group. Maybe we're talking about what you see for, if you're in a church, a children's ministry or youth ministry or worship ministry, or if you're planting a church, or if you're running a business. What is your vision for customer service? What is your vision for marketing? What is your vision for financial integrity? If you're a government entity, what is your vision for staff relationships? Whoever the senior person is, the vision starts with the senior person. The senior leader, the vision starts with him or her, and he has to be able to write it down clearly, and then he passes it on and he communicates it with others. This is our vision. This is where our entity is going to go. We're a government, we're a school. We have the vision and we have the mission, and I'd like to refer to you. I have another short series on the difference between a vision and a mission. So we have our vision and we have our mission, but it must be communicated clearly by you. And so that means if you're not clear, those who follow you are not going to be clear. So you need to get alone and you need to write down what your vision is. What do you see for your company? And then you need to publicize it. You need to put it in written format. You need to put it in posters, or you need to put it on computers so that people can see it. A key point in successful vision is for people to see it. They have to see it. That's what vision is all about. Not just hear it, but they have to see it. And vision must be communicated again and again and again. And so steps to effective strategic planning: communicate and clarify. You must communicate your vision clearly, and you must communicate your vision again and again. Not just once a year, not just 5 times a year, but at least on a monthly basis, during staff meetings, during other kind of meetings where you have small groups or large groups together. You need to reiterate you need to remind and you need to refocus on this is our vision, this is where we're going, and you can use creative ways to do that. The second aspect that many of us don't like to do is job descriptions. Every staff person and volunteer should have job descriptions. Listen to that. Every staff person must have a job description. Every volunteer should have a job description. You don't have to go in super detail. I've looked at job descriptions that are so much in detail. And you know what? Most people, once they get the job description, they don't look at it again, which is wrong, and you need to correct that. But the job descriptions don't have to be in super detail. But the job descriptions needs to let them know this is what you are hired to do. Here are 3 or 4 things that are expected from you. If you do these 3 or 4 things, you will be successful and you will probably get a salary raise and maybe a position raise. If you don't do these 3 or 4 things, you're going to lose your job. And that's how specific you need to be. So every new staff, new volunteer ideally, needs to be met with by senior leadership, and they need to review their job. You are hired to this. This is why you get your salary. This is why you get paid. And so you need to have these 4 things. This is what you're expected to do. This is who you report to. And here's a few things that if you do them, you will probably get fired. So here's the 4 things you're expected to do. Here's 3 or 4 things. I'm just saying don't do them. Don't come late regularly. If you're going to be late, you must notify somebody. Don't take anything that doesn't belong to you. Don't be dishonest. These things will cause you to lose your job immediately. Let me tell you this, if we don't inform the people that are working with us or working under us, either as staff or volunteer, what our expectations of them are, how can we blame them when they don't fulfill our expectations? I've been in that situation many times. In fact, I usually revert to me. If one of my staff or one of my volunteers have failed, it's probably because I haven't communicated clearly. That's where I always go to. And I find that sometimes that's the case. And so if we don't meet with them face to face, and if we don't write it out, and if they don't sign it, and if they don't agree with it, that this is what they're supposed to be doing, then how can we blame them if they don't do it? And so job descriptions are essential. Job descriptions are not fun to write. I've written many, many job descriptions, and I don't like doing it. It's not the kind of thing that I want to do, but it's the kind of thing that needs to be done. And now I have some sample detailed job descriptions, and I have some sample simple job descriptions. I recommend start off at least with the simple job descriptions. You can email me at growingleader75@gmail.com. I'd be happy to email those back to you for free. But the next step is job reviews. The next facet of communication is job reviews. Nobody likes to do job reviews. And again, I've got like 4-page job review forms that have been given me that I've got to go through, and sometimes it's too much. Okay, I don't want to say too much negative because, you know, there's some many pertinent things that are in those 4 or 5-page job review documents, but you do need to have a job review. You need to review with them. The first question I would ask, how do you like your job? By the way, you start off by allowing them the opportunity to speak. Instead of you coming in and dumping on them, you ask them, tell me, so how do you like working with us? How do you like working the atmosphere here? How do you like the job that you're doing? It's really important to try to get the right person in the right place. If possible, we want them to like their job. How do you like your job? How do you like working here? Is there anything that is hindering you from doing what you get paid to do and what I expect you to do? And so you let them share first, you take notes, and then you say, okay, well, let's look at these 4 things. These are the 4 things in your job description that you're expected to do. Okay, so let's kind of rate yourself on it, and I'll rate you and you rate yourself. So how well do you think, if it's between a 1 and a 10, how do you think that you do on that? You think you do a 1 being not very good at all, or a 10 being excellent? And they say, well, you know, I think I do an 8 on that. Really? Okay, well, that's interesting, you know, that's good. But you know what? I think that you do a 4 on it. And this is why. And then you share with them. And so you go through, how do you feel that you're doing on this particular point. This is how I feel. And then in conclusion, you want to affirm them again. Look, I value you as a person. I'm not bringing you in here to condemn you, to put you down, that you're a great player, you have great potential, you've got some weaknesses in this, and so now the next step is make a plan. The first step, let them talk. Second step is evaluate the job and let them evaluate themselves, and then you evaluate them. And then the third step is you together, let's make a plan on how you can improve in these areas, okay? And also you made some suggestions on how we can improve as a management, and so I'm going to write those down too. And so you write it down, you have them sign it, and then you plan for the next job review. So you need a job review at least once a year, okay? So every 6 months you should need a job review. And the fourth point of communicate and clarify is a task list. Again, I can't go in detail about that, but when you tell somebody to do it, listen to me, when you tell somebody to do something, write it down. Don't just say it verbally. First of all, there's a big chance they're going to forget it and you're going to forget it. And secondly, then there's no evidence. You have no way to hold them accountable to it, because they can say, that's not what you said. And in fact, sometimes we think that we said it clearly, but they haven't received it clearly because of that communication barrier that exists between us human beings. And so if you want somebody to do something, write it down and be specific. This is what I want you to do. Any specifics that you can tell them about it, and this is when I want it to be done by, okay? A task list. And so you make a task list, and again, this is a whole nother lesson that we can talk about. Task list on what we do on a weekly basis, on a quarterly basis, on a daily basis. But the point is, write down. Now I've got in my phone, I have an app, and I have a task list in my phone app, and I use it almost every day. You can put the dates on it, you can move things forward. There's another one called Wunderlist, W-U-N-D-E-R-L-I-S, Wunderlist. I used to use that all the time, and you can actually email your task list to your secretary or somebody else so that you can get more people involved in it. But I really want to urge you, use a personal task list for what you want to do, what you have to do, and if you give somebody else an assignment, make it a task list for them and make it written and put a reminder in your phone. We'll do a lesson on that sometime, how to use your phone as a reminder. Put a reminder in your phone to remind you to follow up on it. So again, thank you so much for listening, and if this has been beneficial to you, I'd like for you just to copy the link and send it to someone else. And I'd like to ask if you would to subscribe to this channel and to like this video. That would help me as well. And so again, thank you very much, and let's move on to the next lesson.